備校の事情プラスルートストレス分×括弧妨害工作の事情括弧閉じるライバルの事情イコールメルクリウスイコール敵イコールタ。
Good morning, everyone. It's me. I hope you're well. Today is December 20th at 8:14 a.m. I've been up since about 6, and I have been on YouTube looking around and watching little videos and such, and I came across this one. And before we watch it, I want to say that as I went to look at the comments, I wanted to see what people were saying about it. I read this comment here from 3 months ago. It says, I think the lesson here is it's okay to do wrong things, like it's forgivable. But realizing it and making the right choices to fix it after is what makes someone redeemable. Now, if you can visualize and think about this for a moment, the reason why I teared up is because I knew for a little bit now that these people like Elena Denon, etc., have done wrong. And what I was always hoping is that they would, hi Bubba, that's just Marvin, that they would redeem themselves, confess, do the right thing, and fix and making the right choices to fix it. But they haven't. And so what happens here in this little video, I'm going to keep it muted, but this little doggy comes and finds Pluto asleep, and she sees the bone, okay? Now watch this. See, now Pluto thinks that she's done bad thing and stole his food, and goes after her. But he doesn't realize that she's getting food to protect her little babies, keep her babies. So he feels bad about himself, what he done wrong. And he ruined her house. Look, that's a grave. He's just like, oh gosh. So he goes and he gets her his house for shelter from the rain, gives them the bones so that they can eat, hungry little babies. She gives him a nice kiss and he feels all good about himself, and he goes and he gets his newspaper. Isn't that sweet? And I understand, like, even the title of the video, you don't know what someone has been through. And this is why I held back for so long on telling people what I had discovered, even though I was working my way up to it over the past couple of years. I just kept wanting to give these people the benefit of doubt, you know, like show mercy to them, because I didn't know what they'd all been through, which had led them to make the choices and decisions they had made. As we know, sometimes the greatest intentions, what does it say that? What's that saying? Even the road to hell can be paved with the greatest intentions, right? And I think that's exactly what's happened here. I think that these people have seen before, people like, for example, Alex Collier has been at this for many years and got away with it. And they study these people, they learn off of these people, and then they make up their own thing. You see what I'm saying? Maybe some of them learn from the mistakes that other people have made and continue on this way and make like a new grift, you know? But I don't know, I just have this feeling, and maybe it's just me, but I feel that they thought that this was the only way, that like people wouldn't be able to understand or accept it if it was just spirit body stuff. Like it had to be something that sounds extraordinary to get people to pay attention to it. You know, that's why there was so much sensationalism, right? And to appear like you're different and above other people who have had the similar experiences as you. Okay? Um, the thing is like, I don't know if you know this, but if you look at my channel going back to the beginning, um, at one time I was convinced that I was the bad guy because I couldn't understand what I had done wrong. That no one had asked me to be in a secret space program. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't understand what these people had done that I hadn't done. It wasn't about jealousy. I just really thought that maybe I was a terrible person. And that's why they didn't want to have me involved in this. I mean, I used to think, like, haven't I gone through enough in this life to have earned something like that? You know what I mean? Like, they would clearly know about people's lives and such. And it's just some of the thoughts that I've had about this over the years, you know? But in the beginning, you know, I like I said, I couldn't figure it out what I had to do to achieve what they had. You see, because I had such a terrible life that I really just wanted to leave, go somewhere else with people that wanted me to be around. You know, where I could be some use, and have a family and friends that really truly understood me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a telepathic and empathic ability. I wouldn't have to explain anything to them. You know what I mean? But I kept trying to heal, and I kept trying to make myself better from the inside out, you know, and the outside in. And I kept going, regardless of whether or not I had extraordinary stories about being in a military secret space program, like I'm some type of special super soldier. I never presented it this way. Even in the beginning, I said that the being in my room was of unknown origin. I mean, by the time I started my YouTube channel, I had had a few years to think about it. And honestly, I had come to the conclusion, I mean, not as fast as I would have liked, but I'm grateful to have come to that realization as quickly as I did, and realize that that wasn't an alien, you know. And some of the things I would say to myself is like, from what I knew about quote unquote aliens, and I was like thinking, because of Elena Danon's influence, it would be sort of like Star Trek. And so I thought to myself, well, they didn't, like, this being didn't beam into my room. It didn't like walk out of a portal. It didn't, you know, have any of this. And at the end of it, it just stepped to the side and disappeared, like like going behind a veil. Like, it just disappeared, like going behind Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. It was just gone. Like, it went sideways, not up, not down, sideways to the right. And it just disappeared. And I'm like, what kind of fucking alien would do that? You know, well, it turns out it's not an alien. Like I said, it was an egregore, something that manifested on the outside of me, but was born from within. Now, that's why there were two of them, right? There was a green one and a blue one. Green is the heart chakra. Blue is the throat chakra. And as I realized this over time, you know, of course, it was first, it was, well, that's not an alien. Then if it's not an alien, what is it, right? Eventually, I've come to this conclusion. You know, I've learned about egregores and such, and realized about, you know, even how many times I had wished that evil would be wiped off of the earth. Now, as when 2017 came around, these beings that I believe and feel are responsible for the corruption of a lot of these people, okay, because they bank on like your pain and quote unquote weaknesses, right? So I told people before, I'll say it again, that ever since I was a kid, I was praying that the divine creator would send like an army or whatever to destroy all the evil on the earth. And this was always genuine. And it was like, because of the bad experience that I had experienced, like, and all the evil that I had seen in the world, even from the time I was 9 years old. And so I started to pray for that, because I didn't want people to go through the same kind of pain and torment and suffering that I was. Even at that young age, I wanted it to be over for everybody. So when 2017 came around, and it was a month after I saw the craft above my building, and they had told me about the culling. I told you guys about this experience where I was in my living room and I felt something. Like, I can't really explain it. You can just feel like something is coming, you know? And I stood up off the couch. I took a couple steps forward. And then all of a sudden, I felt all these beings in a circle standing around me, but a tight circle. There was maybe, I don't know, a handful, 5, 6, I don't know. But it was a tight circle around me, not like a big loop. and and they told me that there was going to be a cleansing of the earth, but they called it a culling. And I was like, a culling? You mean that thing Corey Good used to talk about? Because years ago, I remember when he was working with David Wilcock, he had mentioned, and especially like the event or the solar flash thing, that basically people were going to be separated, that there was going to be like, all basically the negative people, or like I was praying for, all the evil, bad people, they would be wiped out. And that there's also going to be like a selection of quote unquote special people or whatever, like chosen people to move on to the higher society, you know? And that's what I remembered. The first thing I thought of was that I was like, that thing? Because I didn't know what it meant at first. And then they said that they were going to cull 3/4 of humanity. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's that much? Like there's that many? So I'm bad at math. So I was like, you mean like if we've got 4 quarters and $1, you mean you're going to take away 3 of those quarters and we only got 25 cents left? Like that was a shocking thing, and I didn't realize at all at the time. And this is what I had to learn, is that people's definition, especially from where they're standing in their perspective, is what they view evil as. Now, for example, Corey Good must think that I am evil, but I'm not. I'm standing up for truth. I've always told my truth, and it was heartbreaking and excruciatingly painful for me. Like I went through a lot of torment and suffering over this to learn that these people were being dishonest. And here I was beating myself up over it the entire time, like I was doing something wrong. It held me back a lot for many years. You know what I mean? And so I've heard these people say that they think what they're doing is helping. And maybe initially it had some benefit to kind of get people to even pay attention to the whole topic itself, But again, I think that they needed extraordinary claims to get this attention. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people talking about this, but I think they had to raise themselves up even with untrue things in order to try to dominate the community, right? Now, I'm not saying any of this is right because I don't agree, but I do feel it that they thought initially, that this is probably what they had to do. Again, the outlook of it, though, it feels to me like they didn't really have faith in humanity or in others. When you really care about people, you try your best and you put at least a little bit of faith and trust that they will be able to understand. You don't look down upon people just because they haven't had the same experiences as you, or they don't have the same ability to express things and explain things as you do. But when you really want to help people, you don't lie to them for any reason. You don't raise yourself up above them to be like some type of leader. That's not what leaders do. Leaders lead by example. I had no intention. I did not realize that things were going to go this way. At one time, I know this feels kind of like I'm a little bit ashamed now because I realize that she would never be my friend. But at one time when I first found Elena Denan, I had lost my best friend. Remember I told you guys that when I told her about the Asura, and I told her what happened that night in 2015, she turned around and said, "Oh, Lacey, you just have to make up imaginary friends because you don't have any in real life." Yeah, she's British. So I just had to make up imaginary friends because I don't have any in real life. My best friend of 20 years. So that was the end of our friendship, honestly, because I realized that she didn't actually love and respect me. She thought I was a joke. So that was the end. There's a lot more to that story, but that happened. And so when I found Elena Denan, I was so excited because, oh my goodness, there are people like me out there. Maybe she'll want to be friends. Maybe we could talk about this stuff together. I would have been so grateful to have a friend like that. But now I'd never trust her. Never. I would never accept anything, especially like a drink or anything from her, because I'd be too terrified that she's trying to fucking poison me, that woman. And that's because of the untrustworthiness. But that's not just her. I wouldn't accept one from Corey Good or David Wilcock or whoever either. And this is why. Because they're ruthless. And they will do whatever it takes to keep their position of power. And that's exactly why you don't deserve it. It's exactly why. And it's just something that I think it's a learning lesson that these people are going to have to learn. You know, that doing this kind of stuff does not have what's that? At the end, it's not the reward that you thought. You know what I mean? Because you might get paid by money and people will get in this way where they're like, "Oh my God, you helped me so much." But really, I bet you for 99% of them that's motivated because they want to be part of a quote unquote secret space program too. You know what I mean? And that's really sad because that shit doesn't even exist. Not really the way that they are presenting it, right? But again, at the same time, they already are part of this quote unquote secret space program. And again, the only thing secret about it is that it's spiritual and spirit body travel and dimensional. No one's actually going to space. You know? Oh boy. I really thought that, and I hoped really. I think I didn't know what I thought, but I definitely hoped for a different outcome. You know? Like, I don't know what Elena Denun's guides were doing when she came to my Telegram and stole the Anunnaki and research that I had done, and then turned her Galactic Federation thing over to the Anunnaki as well, again, so she could dominate the entire community. Now, I had no intention about coming in with the Anunnaki as like some type of rulers. I was actually trying to warn everybody, and I warned her. Like, that was probably on purpose because they knew what I would become. So you were set up. And I tried to warn everybody about that. Like, about these beings like David Wilcock, Corey Good, Elena. You know, this was years ago when I didn't even know as much as I do now. But I warned them that these beings will raise you up and make you think you're doing the right thing, only to watch you fall and enjoy it. If you don't like humanity, which I know that these people don't, Elena's not impressed, either is Corey. And the reason why I know about Elena, like Corey Good talked about a calling, and I know why he would want that. And it's for the similar reason, right, that I did. But I definitely know for sure that we did not go the same way. And sometimes when you have trauma in your childhood and you end up, he calls it PTSD, but whatever. If you haven't been properly diagnosed with a lifelong condition, I don't know what to say about that, but I have. Some people don't turn out the same way, you know? One person will go right, the other person goes left with it. You see what I'm saying? And they feel like, well, if this was done to me, I will do this to you. Yeah? Yeah. So that's part of it. But Oh, crap. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, this is quite stressful for me. So, crap. Just give me 1 second. I friggin' remembered the moment I pressed pause. So, the reason why I know about Elena is because I was in a live stream with her one time when she was live, and they were asking her about the jabs, and she literally shrugged her shoulders like it's not her problem and that she doesn't care. Like it's their problem for being stupid and taking it. And this is how I knew. I was like, ooh, right then. Because my first post on Telegram, because remember, I deleted my Telegram like 3 times because of the harassment I was receiving and because I had realized that Elena Denon was stealing off of me. So, like I was saying, I was researching the Anunnaki, and again, that word was made up by Zachariah Stitchin, who even says that it means beings that descend from heaven to earth. And heaven is the higher dimensional realms, right? So, and one of the things I learned about that is that, like with that little chart, is that the fifth dimension, and why everybody was on about 5D, again, these are fallen angels, also known as demons. Okay? In beings of the mind, intelligent entities of the mind. And I warned them about this because I know for some reason I can feel it like I've known these beings before. And I know what they're like. And that's the one thing, because if you think you're powerful, they're more powerful. And they love that challenge. So to destroy someone who thinks that they're this powerful makes them feel good. So they will raise you up on purpose to make you think that you're doing everything right and that the universe is working out for you. And then they'll pull that rug right out from under your feet and watch you tumble down. And that's exactly what they want. These people make the mistake of thinking that you're either just as or more powerful than they are. That's a mistake. The reason why I can walk in balance with this, like between the pillars with this, as they say, is because even though I realize what these beings are, I know they have a purpose, and I also show them a certain level of respect that they don't fuck with me. They tried, right? But once they realized, they backed off. Yeah. So I really did. I tried my best to warn them, and that their guides should have told them I was coming. But they probably told you I was no big deal, huh? And not to worry about me. Yeah, they lied to you. And I'm not trying to hurt you, but now I've had no choice but to bring out the big guns. Because everything I've tried before did not work. And you guys are basically, not my subscribers, but these people, I think they're alien superheroes, okay? We're laughing. But you guys need to realize what's happened. You've been betrayed. But there's a reason for that. Because you were fucking around. You were making up stories. You were sensationalizing. I have to sell books. Really? Well, this is the consequence. And I mean, like, it's absolutely ridiculous and vile. Okay, this is one of the lowest things that you can do. So someone has discovered the truth about what you've done. And then you attack them. You try to get their channel terminated to silence them. That's the opposite of goodness. Do you think that that's what the fucking Jedis would do? No. What the hell's wrong with you? That's Anakin evil Skywalker behavior after he lost his shit. That's what happened to you guys. That's why I was saying, Obi-Wan says, you were the chosen ones. You were supposed to defeat the Sith, not join them. Do you know how painful that was? That scene will stick with me my whole life. And I will never forget. Ever. And that's what happened to you. If you don't turn around now, It's only going to get worse. You're not going to stop me. Even if my channel gets terminated, you're not going to stop me. I'm only going to go harder and faster. And it'll bring your destruction quicker. I'm warning you. You need to confess now, all of you, before it's too late. Because there's going to come a moment, like I said, you can be redeemable, but there's a time when you are unredeemable. Remember what I said in this little comment here. It says, I think the lesson here is it's okay, like it's forgivable. It's forgivable, not okay, but forgivable to do wrong things. But realizing it, that you are doing wrong things and making the right choices to fix it after is what makes someone redeemable. And that is what made me tear up and shed a couple of tears, honestly, because of this. So I really hope that I've expressed myself well enough, because I kind of feel like a monster having to do this, having to expose these people this way, you know? But unfortunately, it's how it has to be. This needs to be corrected. We are in a big fucking mess and it needs to be cleaned up immediately. Okay? So I've asked these people before to confess, and I will again. Confess what you've done, apologize, and tell people the truth. All of you. And set those people free. Because they are sitting there, and that's horrible. You would never. I did not like this done to me, so I will not do it to others. And clearly, you did not learn the lessons of the Spirit of Jesus, which is unconditional love. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I'm fully aware, I am fully aware that if there's anything out there, it will come for me. And justly so, right? So the only thing that I can think of, it would be, honest to God, is that business with the demon twin flame guy. And that's it. There is nothing else. So, and I knew that going into this, that there would be people that would be able to investigate and find these things out. So why even bother trying to make anything up? You know what I mean? I don't know, you guys. It was just never what I wanted to do. And I think that, well, I know that if I had done something, like made up a story, like say I made up a story like the Asura came back and I got into the spaceship and blah, 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 that's an exaggeration. That never happened. You know, this is a fabrication. You know, and it gets hard sometimes. Like, it gets really feeling desperate, because you do want people to believe you, and you want them to share in the experience that you've had, because it was so extraordinary, you know? But it's sad. It's sad I had no evidence, you know? It's sad that night when I saw that light in the sky, but I didn't have a camera, but I didn't even think about that there would be a need to grab a camera until I got out onto the balcony. I had less than 15 seconds with that, you know? And so it's really bothersome. And even to this day, I don't have a camera to capture it in the sky, you know? Even my cell phone that I have now, it's just shitty. You can't take pictures of the sky. And I can't afford a better one. So I really don't know even how I would bring evidence forth to people, you know? But this is why none of them have, because it's spiritual and dimensional. I mean, the only one who has ever had any kind of evidence was Peter Corey, who had that hair. And that DNA proves right there that they were ancient humans. So, and that's pretty freaking incredible, honestly. Because especially after I found like the antediluvian age and the ancient civilization stuff, you know, and then it totally made sense, because I seen Peter Corey years ago on that documentary, and I didn't know that. I thought that was like a Palladian or a freaking inner earth being. You know what I mean? Yeah, I remember it. But ever since I learned what I did, I realized right away the DNA suggests exactly what my research had concluded, that they are ancient humans that discovered interdimensional travel. And I mean, you think it's so freaking complicated, but it's not. Liquid mercury and lodestones with electromagnetism. That's absolutely phenomenally incredible. You know, why shouldn't we celebrate this? But the government has this fucked up weird agenda to tell everybody that it's aliens from like Mars or Andromeda or fucking Jupiter. You know what I mean? So this is what's so concerning. It's like they're trying to cover up creation, like they said years ago. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's a Bible thumper going on. But it's true. They actually are, because these are the other creations of the Creator. They don't even know where they come from. If you really listen, that's why a lot of these beings are like, oh yeah, the aliens are trying to figure out their source too. Yeah, whatever. They know they were they were made by the divine Creator just like us. The grand architect. Give me a break. You know? But if the government's telling you it's aliens, it's definitely fucking not. And they're not going to give us proper disclosure, ever, because they want to benefit off this agenda. They're probably working with beings that aren't the greatest. Okay? They most likely aren't. Now, I do realize this, though, and this is hard for people to accept, is that we're in a prison planet for a reason. Okay? The elites and that call us the friggin' profane, and they do actually believe that we're evil beasts. They do, and that's why they're treating us like this, because in their eyes we are evil, and in our eyes they are evil. But the thing is that evil does not know it's evil. It thinks it's right and good, so they think that they're doing the right thing, just like the alien liars. Like, I'm going to space, I'm on a secret space program, I'm going to Neptune with Thorhan, you know, all of that. Yeah, they want to keep that going because it makes money. The truth doesn't really make money, because then people will understand that they have to go within. They can't keep looking outside of themselves for information and sources and, you know, like desperately trying to drink up as much knowledge as they can to figure themselves out in their own life. But if they only knew, hey, you're already a super soldier, you're already in a secret space program, and you just don't know. And the secret is that it's your spirit body. You know? Like I went over yesterday. I'm going to switch pages now for a second. Here's my page here. And I had to delete that one post there because well, so I mean, back in the day when I saw this picture, I didn't know what it meant. And now that I understand about Saturn and reality creation, and the middle finger represents Saturn, this is how they think that, what does it mean? Bring reality, create your own reality, or they might think that this is bringing the inside to the outside, but it's not. This is a falsery. This is a fakery. This is a mockery. She's walking around dressed in things like with Star Trek and doing Star Nation news like she's some type of galactic reporter. This is weird. Okay? And I mean, not in like, it's just, I cannot understand it. Weird. And why it's such a game to them, I don't know. But they are playing right in our faces. This is reality creation. But they're not, they were saying, oh, we're saying fuck you to the haters. No, you're not. You're saying fuck you to everybody who understands what you're doing. And I can't let you get away with that. So yeah, I don't think I have the picture in this one, but I talked about the fact about the Merkaba, and that is your spirit body. Somebody came to tell me that it means water, but it's water, it's divine water and divine fire combined. Like on the front of the Secret Teachings of All Ages, there's one giant pouring out ice, and there's one, it's water, but it's technically the most negative form of water is ice, and the most positive form of fire is like explosive, like lightning or fire. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like both ends, the positive and negative scales of both elements. And so when you combine these two, it's the divine water and fire, which we are forged through water and fire, like the tempering of a sword, which I talked about before, which I found was like my experience. The divine creator was the one with the hammer, and I'm the sword on the anvil as a creation. Yes, I talk about this in my book too. But that's how I experienced it. And the light body, I knew, because as soon as I saw this about the Merkaba, I remembered about this necklace she used to wear. And so it is for 100% certain that this is the spirit body. And it's not right. Like you've got a Star Trek background. You know what I mean? Like this isn't right. This is play pretend. We're too old for this. Like I'm too old for this, but she's 15 years older than me. You know? So I just wanted us all to have the same type of equal freedom. You know, as humanity, we deserve to know the truth. We've been taken advantage of enough by all these other elites and Kabbalists. But this is the same Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. And you don't have to necessarily be Jewish. You know what I mean? People like Jeffrey Epstein and all them took part in this too. And this is why there's so much of a sexual aspect to it. Children have a lot of pure energy. And that's why they need to absorb it off of them by harming them. Or sometimes not. Sometimes just by charming them and convincing them that they actually want to sleep with them. You know what I'm saying? But that's why that is. Because of the energy harvest of that. So what do you think these people are doing off of us? Energy harvesting. Every time you're sitting there, you're like, oh my God, she's the savior of humanity. She's helping us. Oh, here's $500, Elena. You know what I mean? That's energy harvesting. And I seen her using it and trying to affect the Schumann resonance. Again, with reality creation. So, I don't know. I mean, this wouldn't have happened if you were doing the right thing. You know what I mean? This wouldn't have happened. So, I know that it probably feels like for these people that that they're doing the right thing. Because, oh, she says the other day, oh, the universe is doing everything for me and everything, you know. Oh my God, girl. This has been too much, and I will not allow us to go into 2026 with this bullshit anymore. It's wrong, it's unfair, and it's been enough of it. There is enough of it. And more scoundrels are jumping on the train because they know how profitable it is. Especially at this time when there's so much unknown and people are feeling some kind of ways like they do. They're going through it now. And again, this was done on purpose. They're raising prices, they're doing all this crazy stuff so that people don't have the time or the energy to go against the elites and the Kabbalists. You see what I'm saying? And that's what they've done to people now. Because there's a lot of people that realize that we're being ruled by evil. Even when I realized that when I was a kid, you know, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying, like, it's the same realization they're coming to. And it's difficult because you think, no one would do that. They wanted to be a politician to make the world a better place. They're not going to do that. They're not a bad person like that because it's not in your heart. But that doesn't mean that it's not in theirs. Like I said, there's differences with evil. You know, you're not always going to be the hero in everyone's story. And in some person's story, you are the villain, right? Like when you see a movie in the perspective of the bad guys and the good guys are coming after them. Did you ever see something like that? And then you realize how you were viewing it from a different perspective. You're like, oh shit, these were the bad guys the whole fucking time. but you find empathy and compassion and understanding for them. And then you realize what side you were on. You see what I'm saying? It's a similar situation that we're in. But the most important part about it is to be redeemable. You have to fix your mistakes, you know? And so, I mean, even if I, over my 6 years on YouTube, had influenced someone to believe that there was an alien in my room, or because I always called it a being of unknown origin, even when I started online, you know, but there was a time where I would have fought you to defend the fact that it was an alien. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know any better. It looked like one. It had big black eyes like one. You know, but again, I was fed misinformation that these are dimensional beings and not aliens at all. So I'm still hoping that they will. As crazy as it sounds, I'm still hoping that they will. And what they don't understand, it's like, yeah, people are going to be a little bit upset, but they're gonna forgive. It's going to take them time. They're going to forgive, and then they're going to respect you for doing the right thing. You know? Right. So you can fix it, but you've got to do it now. You know? People will forgive. They're going to be real mad at first, but if you do the right thing and you tell them the truth, and you tell them why you felt that way genuinely, truthfully, from your heart. You know what I mean? It will. They will forgive you. And again, maybe they'll even welcome to hear you speak again. You know, this time try again and treat them with respect and the equality that they deserve. Elena's on her page talking about how we're all equals. But girl, you named yourself Galactic Emissary. Do you know how arrogant that is? I don't think you realize it. See, that's what I'm saying. The shadow self takes over these people's minds, and they think that it's their higher self. But the shadow does that. Yeah, it does that. And it's evidently clear, you know? So, I don't know. I just had to get this off of my chest. I really appreciate you listening to me. It's been a really stressful couple of days. It's just, I think the most disappointing part about it is that if they really stood up for truth and all that, they wouldn't be fighting against me like this. You know what I mean? So, I mean, oh man, it sucks because I didn't have any beef with Corey Good anymore, and then he had to do that. You know, and I still don't like walk around holding this energy towards him or whatever, but it's just so fucking disappointing. Here I was trying to convince people like he needs help, we need to help them. And they all know. Stephen Cambion knows that. The guy's a hidden in plain sight, and they both tried to convince me like, listen, this guy's fucking evil. I should have listened to them. I should have listened, but I didn't, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I just really hope that truth will prevail, that we can have something turn around, you know, that Corey Good will stop copyright striking everyone who tries to post his deposition because he told the truth in it, and he knows it's going to ruin his grift. But he should just confess. Confess, claim mental illness for God's sake. That's what you have, so claim it. Because that kind of behavior is very concerning. And by the way, I've had a few people come onto my page leaving extraordinarily nasty comments. Guess what the picture? It says S1. Usually there's only a what you call it? Like either you have a picture or no, there is nobody there with the what you call it? The little W or an L sometimes or whatever. But it's called S1. And I bet you anything it's somebody Corey Good sent after me. He's done this before. There was chat logs off of forums where he was organizing people to attack certain individuals. So, and the account has been remade twice now, maybe 3 times. So yeah, there's stuff like that, but they don't hurt my feelings. It's just, like I said, it's disappointing. It's sad that they want to stop the truth from coming out when you guys were saying that you're heroes of truth and that you're protecting humanity and helping humanity and all of this, when that's the total opposite. You're only helping yourself. And this was pretty much selfishly motivated so that you could line your pockets. Like I said, you don't want change, as in the world to get better. You wanted change to fill your bank account. And that's awful. Seriously awful. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, there comes a point where it's redeemable, but after a certain point, it's not. So, I mean, coming after me to destroy me is not going to do anything, because I will continue. There's always a fail-safe in place with me. That's why I warned you, if you come after me, I'm going to go 10 times harder, and look what's happened. And it will continue. Like, I don't want to fight. But if I have to, I'm gonna. Like, I have been in talks with YouTube for days, showing them how Corey Good has been going after people's channels and abusing the copyright strike thing. Even if someone starts to review my videos, I'm not going to fucking copyright strike you. I mean, especially if it's like you're looking at it like I do, like how I did with Kelly's video or whatever. There's been people who have tried to review my videos, and I go and I talk to them about it until they realize how wrong they were and what they said, and they deleted their fucking video. Good for them, because he sat there for 2 hours like he's my fucking dad, giving me all this, and it was the most arrogant, ridiculous thing. Like, I'm not trying to be rude here, like, I'm being fucking serious. And so that's why I had to go and correct his old ass about what he was saying about me. But even so, like, I'm not going to fucking copyright strike you unless you take my content and upload it to your channel. And that's not what I did. The deposition of Corey Good does not belong to him, and I have proved that with documentation. Okay? So he cannot prove that it belongs to him, because it doesn't. Just because your face is on it doesn't mean you own it. And if you had any sense whatsoever, Corey Good, you would have seen that I had mercy for you. You should have backed the fuck off, boy. But you can't, because you actually act like a fucking demon. Like a demon. And it's actually disturbing how long you've gotten away with this. But no more. You're not going to get away with it. None of you are. So, that's all I have to say for today. And I hope you all have a great day. And I'm sorry that this, especially so close to Christmas. You know what I mean? Like I said, I didn't intend for this at all. But I knew that it was going to go this way. If they came after me, it would get worse and worse for them. So, I don't know. I'm just going to go and get on with my day. And I appreciate you very much listening to me for these 48 minutes this morning. I know I just didn't want to be on camera because I got up and I'm having a hard time eating a little bit, but I should be all right. Yeah. So it's just like I said, it's been really stressful. Because at one time I cared about these people. You know what I mean? And I still do, trying to help them. But it comes to a point where I have to start caring about myself too, right? And not letting them just do whatever they want to do to me. And I mean, it's really low behavior to do. So, I mean, the majority of them have ignored me, and that is purposeful, because if they give me any attention, people will come to my page and realize in a heartbeat what these people have done, because I have all the information here, right? I'm not saying I'm the only one who's done this, but I'm the only one who's out there doing this right now on YouTube. So, I mean, like, in this kind of a way. And I know these things, and I'm saying these things because I've experienced this stuff myself. So as I was going along the journey, I was like, wait a minute. I would listen to their stories and I'd be like, wait a minute, that's something like that has happened to me, but that wasn't aliens, that was the spirit realm. And that kept happening over and over again until I figured it out. That we are in the same thing. And that is the spiritual realm. And this is why I've had so many similarities. And here I am trying to figure out why it's not aliens or what did I do wrong and all that ridiculousness, Wild as hell. But at least I know now. So I just hope that this truth can free other people, because it's really not nice. Like, they don't understand when the Atlas comet goes by and nothing freaking happens, people are going to be really upset, and you don't know who's going to do something drastic to themselves over that, and they don't deserve that. No one deserves that. That doesn't mean you're stupid. Oh, well, that's not my problem. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is what false gifts and broken promises are. Yeah. So, I don't know. I still hope for the best. It's crazy, but I do. I still hope that they will confess and do the right thing. Because we can fix this. Can we fix it? Yes, we can, Bob the Builder. And if you don't understand the reference, that's why they said Jesus was a carpenter. He fixed stuff. That's what the Christ does. All right, everybody. Take care. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and caring about me. I appreciate all of you. And I'm sorry if I don't get your comments for almost 13 freaking hours. For some reason, they don't show up. So when I see them, I try to get to them as quick as possible. And I just remembered again that I have to schedule those 2 live streams, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So if you want to come out and hang out with me, if you're all by yourself and you're sitting at home, you don't have to be alone. I'll be there for you. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'll probably be eating a little bit of a meal. Maybe not on Christmas Eve. I don't know if I'll do it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But either or, we'll have some snacks, and maybe we'll play Hangman. Remember all the funny little words that I make for Hangman, and no one can guess them. And that's like, well, you get it pretty good, but it's difficult, and the game lasts longer because it's harder to figure out, and that's why I do it. And it's super funny. We always have a good time with that. Remember, I made one that said Dingleberry Jam Toast. That was so funny. And everyone was laughing at the end, like, oh my gosh, like they were really good, but it's difficult for people to guess what they are, and it makes it more fun. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we'll do that, and I'll bring up my little wish box and stuff like that, Yeah. I've been working really hard at my channel for 6 years, and it's been a huge part of my life. It's been a huge emotional outlet, mental, emotional, and even spiritual outlet for me. I've been all alone in my life, and I realize now why my isolation. If I didn't explain that properly, my isolation was for a reason, so that I could become this. So that I could it was almost like being inside of a cocoon and then transforming into the butterfly. You know what I mean? As from caterpillar to a butterfly. And that's why I kept hearing November Rain. We all need some time on our own. We all need some time all alone. Oh, everybody needs some time on their own. You know that one? And that's what it means, because you learn from that. And it's so vitally important. And so even though it's been very, very painful, and me feeling like I must be the most terrible person in the world, no one wants to hang out with me or whatever else, but it was honestly, I know it sounds crazy, but the divine creator protecting me from all of these other energies. And every time I would try to go hang out with somebody, I'd feel so exhausted and ill after. And I knew like these weren't the right people, but I didn't want to be so ungrateful, like even just to be able to go, and have coffee with somebody. But then these people just, remember I said that 56-year-old woman just ghosted me like a child? Instead of being like, you know what, I just don't think that we're compatible or blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, if she had called me, I would have been like, yeah, I agree, and that's okay. Thank you very much for the nice afternoon. Take care. But yeah, this is the reason for my isolation, and I'm grateful for that. I look forward to a time when I can be around other people and make new memories. Like I said, I don't have a single memory of Christmas. Not one memory of Christmas with my family growing up. Nothing. So my happy Christmases are here because I make them happy. And um I really try to remember, but I will admit that I have a hard time remembering happy memories. At first, my CPTSD started to delete the bad things in my past, and I was happy about it. But then I realized that a lot of the good stuff went with it too. You know, I honest to God don't remember any Christmases. Oh, I think I just remembered when I got my reindeer. So I had a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's why it's such a big part of this Christmas season, and I sang that song. And he went with me through all of my trauma, and I had him with me until, well, I write about it in my book, but my birth mother had a yard sale with all my belongings and threw him in the garbage. So, I mean, my birth mother was never there for me when those people were beating me nonstop for 17 years, but she took away my buddy. This actually makes me kind of emotional, so I'm gonna go. Like, they were never there for me, but they threw away the one toy that held all of my tears that I held on to at night while I cried myself to sleep. Yeah. So, these people claim to have suffering. I don't think you suffered enough. Because if you did, it would have changed you into a better person. Take care, everyone. Sorry. Bye.